And welcome to another episode of Worst Collection Ever. This is the show where we tell you about the worst comic book collection in existence. And it just happens to belong to us. I'm Jen.
I'm Sean.
Hey.
Hey. How are you?
Yeah.
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 No, I agree.
Yeah.
Not much to really talk about aside from a big thing. The untimely passing of one Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Actor most known for, well, at least pertaining to this show, most known for his role as the Black Panther. Yeah. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He passed away, well, it was reported that he passed away on Friday. Mm-hmm. At age, how was he, 43?
He was 43.
43 years old, which is...
so young.
Very young.
He died of colon cancer. And
he passed away from, it was stage 4 colon cancer, I guess. Yeah. And something, and apparently he was sick for quite a time. He's been sick for the past, was sick for the past 4 years. Yeah, he's been battling for quite a while. Yeah. And nobody knew he was sick. So I think, as everybody's seen on the internet, it's been such a shock to so many people, especially because he was so young. Yeah, he was so young. I mean, and it's fucked up. Cancer doesn't discriminate. No, it doesn't give a shit. It doesn't give a shit. No, it does not. So you could, doesn't matter what age. I mean, but yeah, you don't really think about a guy like his age dying so young, so especially like an actor of his stature. It's a big deal. It's just such a big deal to see that, and it sucks. And I don't really know what else to say. I mean, other than sympathies, our deepest sympathies go out to his family. Yeah, it's just one of those things that's like really shitty. I mean, again, nobody knew he was sick, and it was so unexpected, and it's kind of one of those things that, like, you really never know what people are going through, behind closed doors. Because I know I was bitching about that 21 Bridges movie that he was in. Yeah, right. Because usually it got pushed back so many times. And usually when that happens, it's because the movie is shitty. Like, hello, New Mutants, right? Mm. So I'm like, man, that's not good. But now I realize, like, I haven't seen it. But I'm like, shit, what if they were just pushing it back because they wanted him to do press and he wasn't well enough to do it? And that's actually a very plausible situation. Right. Plausible thing, yeah. And they were trying to push it back so maybe he would, recover from a surgery or whatever, and then he could do some press for it. And it just didn't happen, so they just ended up dumping it. But, like, I remember just being like, that movie must suck ass. What if it doesn't? Right. And it's not, like, again, you never know what's happening behind the scenes. Yeah, you don't know. I mean, as somebody who's been through this, you try your best when you're, in this scenario. Like, I mean, I worked the entire time, and it's not everybody can. Yeah, not everybody can, and and there's not everybody, and I mean, not everybody has the certain means to do that. And I mean, I don't know, I'm just kind of rambling about it, but I mean, it was a real sobering thing to hear. Yeah. The other day, because again, 43 years old, with essentially no warning. Right. I mean, it's not to say that he had any right, there was any right for him to tell us what was going on. Oh, no. I mean, you can keep whatever, that's your health shit, man. But usually something like that would leak, and it did not. I had no hair. Like, some people were like, because there were some like instances of people talking about him, I guess, being like, and you see some of these other pictures, like from like other things he did earlier this year or whatever, or like last year, and you could see him. He was very thin. He was thin, and people were, made mention to that, and but you wouldn't really put that together. No, and I would never have put that together, and I was with you when you went through cancer. I would have just thought, oh, he's losing weight for a role. Maybe he's method, like Christian Bale. That's literally what I would have thought. Because I didn't see any of those pictures. But had I seen them, that's literally, I would have just been like, oh, he's method. He must be doing it for a role. Like, I would never have thought that it was because he was sick. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Serious bummer. Obviously our sympathies are with his family. I do hope they don't recast the role of T'Challa. I'd rather his Shuri
Shuri. I'd rather she become the next Black Panther.
Well, I'm sorry. I think
that'd be cool.
I think there's something that's in line for that in the comics. I think somebody becomes Black Panther.
Right. Well, I would hope it would be her. I mean,
and she was
the next in line.
Yeah. So I mean, look, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna do that.
Yeah. So, I just don't want them to recast.
I also hope that they don't feel the need to do a thing in the movies, and I don't think they're going to do this because we're already. I don't know. I feel like maybe in my mind, I feel like Marvel has more class than this than to Paul Walker something.
Oh God, I hope not.
Just to be like.
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, just to be like, oh hey, well, we had to do this so we could explain why T'Challa isn't here. And now
Dude, just give us a one sentence unfortunately he passed or whatever.
Yeah, just you can have somebody more. You can have somebody in.
They're sad that he's not there.
In Wakanda with him more than mourning him.
Yeah, that's fine. Please don't fucking Paul Walker that shit because that would be so upsetting.
Well, the thing is that
it was upsetting when they did it for Paul Walker.
Well, also it's like they did that whole thing with Robert Downey Jr.
where they de-aged his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in was
it Civil War?
Either that or Iron Man 3. It might have been Iron Man 3.
It was one of those.
Because he was like, this was me right before my parents died or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like his young face and it was really upsetting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think we need that. But,
no, we don't.
I think we need to just move on.
Yeah.
And just respect his legacy, which, by the way, I mean, Chadwick Boseman's legacy as a actor was a pretty good legacy.
Yeah. Well, apparently the movie he was in, the Spike Lee movie, apparently he's very good in.
Which movie is this?
I think it's Da 5 Bloods.
Okay.
Which I haven't seen, but I've heard.
Is that out yet?
I think it came out right before quarantine.
Oh.
And maybe it might be streaming. I don't know. I haven't actually looked.
Okay. Because I know he played Thurgood Marshall, which apparently they shot some of in Buffalo. Or something,
maybe.
I guess. This is a movie that's something that's coming out, I guess.
Is that the Netflix thing?
Maybe.
Because Netflix.
I think it might be Netflix.
Yeah.
And then there's also
played Jackie Robinson.
He played Jackie Robinson. He played James Brown.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's again, man has had a hell of a career, and just a lot of really cool stories coming out about him. But it's it's very disappointing to even have to talk about him in the past tense like this. I know. I don't dig it.
No, it sucks.
Because 2020.
Yeah, it just keeps on taking. It just keeps on just being the worst.
2020 is he was like, look, we could do worse.
It's like, hey, do you guys want to wake up to some new terrible news every day? We got you covered. 2020.
I mean, they're
and it's doing so well.
It's doing such a great job,
isn't it? Though
I applaud its consistency. I feel like hopefully its successor will not.
Man, I was really excited for 2020. I'm not even going to lie. I was like, oh, finally, man. I just feel like this is going to be such a better year than 2019. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be a much better year. And I think it's going to be great. And then it just wasn't. Well, it just was worse.
Well, I mean, between COVID and everything,
yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's hard to deal with.
Yeah. Rest in power. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We just need to remember the best times that he provided us. So
yeah,
I guess we need to move on to. It's really not. I mean, outside of Chadwick Boseman, I didn't really want to talk about much.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot. I think the only thing is the New Mutants actually came out.
Yeah,
came out in the actual physical theater. People saw it.
It happened. I mean, it happened.
It happened. Apparently, it's bad. But again, I have not seen it. I haven't even looked to see if it's streaming.
Yeah.
If it's streaming, I will definitely rent it. I'd like to see it.
I don't know why you just don't fucking. I mean, they might wait a little bit to stream it.
Yeah, maybe a couple weeks. Maybe give it some time to be in the theater. But I mean, I think once it's available for streaming, I will definitely watch it.
Yeah, no, I really want to see it. I just don't want to.
I'm not going to a theater.
I'm not in the point to go to a theater at this moment.
No, I'm not dying for the New Mutants.
No, thank you.
Man, there's a lot of things I will die for. New Mutants is not one of them.
I would do anything for movies.
Pretty much. Yeah, so New Mutants just is one of the things I don't plan on dying for anytime soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, once it comes out, I'll see it. But again, I've heard it's bad. That's all I can say. I have not delved into the reviews because I'm really trying to just keep away from it. I've just seen some headlines.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people also, too, is it Tenet's also getting some pretty wacky
I heard the sound is intense.
Well, yeah.
That was just what I found just right before this. I was reading some stuff from people who'd seen it, and then no spoilers with it, but just... And I think it's kind of just how Nolan movies are, but just like that huge, like, and then the dialogue is like, you can barely hear it. But then everything else just fucking blows you out of your seat. And that is not just a Tenet problem. That's like a problem with a lot of movies and TV shows over the past like 15 years.
I can't fucking stand it.
It drives me crazy. They're like, hey, here's the action. We'll literally blow you out of your seat. And then you go to fucking, like, they start talking and you have to turn it up so loud because they're so quiet. Well, and then the action, and then somebody starts shooting and you, like, blow your fucking windows out. I'm like, can we just find, like, a medium here, guys?
Well, also that, like, you know, I think for the past, like, couple of years, like, I've watched pretty much everything with subtitles on.
Yep, we watch everything with subtitles.
Like, with movies, because it's just, you know.
Because I don't want to have to keep turning it up, turning it down.
You know, it's not like that all the time, you know, and it sucks if you're watching, like, a comedy special or something like that.
Yeah, I can't do it with comedy specials, and I can't, this is really weird, I can't do it on RuPaul's Drag Race or, like, any reality.
Oh, really?
Show. I don't know why, I just can't. So I always have to.
Well, because the problem is, I think the text will be on the screen
before
like whatever's going on. Yeah. You know, so it's just the timing is off and it doesn't really.
Especially with comedy,
especially comedy.
Ruins it.
But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it's like I want to be able to fucking hear it.
Yeah. So. And I don't want like a car to, you know, crash through the fucking front window of the diner that the characters are sitting in, and like then I'll be deaf. Yeah. Like, not really looking for that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty it's pretty frustrating.
It's egregious.
So I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Yeah, so I mean, once Tenet is streaming, I will see it.
Okay, yeah, that too.
Sure.
Yeah. But do we watch anything?
Not really. I mean, after the big DC dump, we've kind of just been working this past week.
Yeah, it's true. I've been kind of chilling out. I had a COVID test.
Yeah, you did.
I'll talk about that, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because I've been feeling a little bit off. Right, I'm still feeling a little bit off now, and I think it might just be like a cold.
It might just be because, well, so what we had in Denver is pretty much the entire month of August was over 90 degrees. Like every single fucking day was like 94, 95, whatever. Uh-huh. So it was really, really hot. And then literally the last 2 days, it broke. Yeah. So now we probably won't see that hot again. So now we're looking at like, 78, 82. Yeah. It's still hot, but it's not what it was. Yeah. So I think that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I ended up having to get a COVID test just for my own, for my own sanity.
I did not get a COVID test.
No, but because you weren't. I'm not exhibiting like super symptom or anything like that. Just like I had something where it's like, okay, I might feel like I might have a fever. I might have some aches, because you always hear about all these different things that people are experiencing with regards to COVID. And the thing that's really fucked up about this disease, from what I've been able to glean from a lot of it, a lot of stuff just talking about with you and reading in the news or whatever, but like the symptoms and the way people exhibit certain symptoms and have certain reactions is different. So for one person, you might just end up having like a really bad fever for a couple of days and the aches, but you won't have a cough, or you might have a cough, so there's some variables to it.
You might get weird toes that look like they're frostbitten.
Which apparently that's
a thing apparently, which
or you lose your sense of taste and sense of smell. Yeah. I mean, the sense of smell thing, I wouldn't even know.
Right. You have no sense of smell.
Because I'm very bad at smelling things.
Yeah, that's true.
Although I did taste everything. We just had some spicy food and I tasted all of it.
Yes, I made a rather spicy meal.
Well, I was saying, but I'm saying, I tasted it. I was like, what is the spice? But if I had a COVID issue like that, I would be like, I don't taste any of this.
It was a variety of spices.
It was a variety, but I just felt it was necessary to go get tested, and I'm just sharing this experience because not everybody maybe knows about this experience. So I'll share it. Sure. So we went to like the site. And I thought I was going to have to go in and like wait But apparently, and I didn't, because some of them were drive-through, and I didn't realize this one was drive-through. And this one was drive-through, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're doing a drive-through.
Yeah.
So they basically, you pull, and I was in the passenger seat, and we drive up, and the girl, that's doing it, she's got the mask, she's got a mask, like the face mask, and she's got gloves. I mean, it's all very sanitized. And, she has the swabs, and basically they just stick the swabs in your nose, and they kind of move it. They push it in there pretty good.
Yeah.
They don't push it in there as far as I would have thought. For some reason, I thought they were just like, they were digging into my brain, like really going hardcore.
I actually asked her if it was going to hit your brain.
That's what I was saying. No, because I thought
it doesn't actually, there's no way it could hit your brain. It would kill you.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, like, I just felt that there was going to be more of a venture up there.
Yeah. I didn't even let her answer that. I answered it for him. I was like, no.
Yes, I am a doctor. I'm also your wife. No, this won't hit your brain. Thank you.
Not a doctor, but I know that much.
Right. So they, but she puts it in there, and, and it definitely, she's like, well, it's good. You definitely feel like you'll have to sneeze, which was true.
Yeah.
I ended up sneezing and stuff like that, but it was in there for like, she puts it in 15 seconds. She does it and she gets it out.
They do both nostrils.
They do both nostrils. And I was like, and then that was it. And then you're like, and it was like, okay, you're done. And I was like, all right, great. Do I have to do anything else? Nope, you're done.
Yeah.
And you just drive away.
Yeah.
And then they give you 48 to 72 hours and
give you your results.
And apparently mine came in quicker because I got mine just a few hours ago.
Yeah.
And it says that I am negative, or I am not detected.
Yes, you do not have the vid.
I am not. I will confirm this actually, just so I don't, because I don't want to be like saying I read it wrong.
No, you didn't read it wrong. You do not have the vid.
So, but apparently, yeah. So apparently, I am.
Hi, Leela. We took the cats to the vet. That was exciting. I had to take Leela in. So she went in, and they say she's a very beautiful cat, which we all know.
Yeah, not detected.
Not detected. So Sean doesn't have the vid, as we knew.
I'm alive.
Sean's alive. Yeah, I didn't think you did, but peace of mind, whatever. I'm glad you were able to get a test without much trouble. I mean, that really wasn't that bad.
That's what the thing is. Like, I feel like there's been such a.
Well, I think at the beginning, because there wasn't any tests, it was a freaking mess. But now they have more tests and more sites. I mean, like, we drove up, there's only one guy in front of us.
Yeah, it was
really easy.
It was really just an easy process. And I mean, and look, say what you will, however you decide you want to just, review this situation or whatever, but it's just what it is, I mean, you can easily go to this
depending on your state.
Sorry, I was just watching Keith Lee get a win. We're watching the pay-per-view too, by the way.
Yeah. Keith Lee won.
Keith Lee got a win.
It's fucking great.
He's fucking awesome. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah. So no, I'm glad.
have to go through that, but but everything's good. At least for right now. I don't plan on getting COVID in the future. I'm going to try. I'm probably, if anything, I'm probably going to be taking it easy.
Going anywhere?
Well, no, but I mean,
when we do go places, on the rare occasion we go at like very off hours, and we mask up. Obviously,
we're in masks. We're wiping our hands down. I mean,
we're crazy about that fucking hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't think you had COVID.
I know, but
I'm glad you get your peace of mind though.
And I'm glad I was able to do that.
Yeah, I think
because it was easy to do. It was easier to do that than I thought it was going to be.
Sure.
But I'm glad that I was able to do that.
Yeah.
Because from me to all the listeners, don't feel like, don't be scared of it, I guess.
It's super uncomfortable. It's the same thing. Like, I remember when you got tested for the flu and we still lived in Boston. It was the same basic thing. They shove the thing all the way up your fucking nose, and then that's just how it works. And so it's not terrible. It's not like they're like holding you down and beating the fuck out of you or something,
We'll beat the COVID out of you.
Yeah.
So
beat this COVID out of you.
Well, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with our book for this week.
We Are Venomaniacs is the Venom Site official podcast for all of your symbiote news, reviews, and point of views about Venom-related comics, movies, television, animation, and merchandise. We are available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Join us, won't you?
All right, we're back here in West Collection Ever with our book for this week. It is Avengers number 185 from July 1979. This is a book from a collection trade paperback. It is the Avengers Doctor Strange Rise of the Darkhold collection, which is actually, this is a great collection because it's something like, it's like a random, just like a random like collection, like a reason to make a collection, you know, about Darkhold, which I mean, as far as I know, I don't really know if it's still doing stuff in the, you know, in the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
Or in the main Marvel universe.
Probably not.
But for those who don't know, Darkhold is basically just it's like the Necronomicon, like not with the meat cover. It's just a book of spells, and this particular comic collects a series of issues, mostly werewolf. It starts off a lot with Werewolf by Night. And we got some Tomb of Dracula, and we got some Marvel Chillers, which sounds like a great, like, cool, like, summer drink.
It really does.
For kids.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, give your kids some Marvel Chillers, you know, Captain America cantaloupe flavor. Trying to think.
I don't know. I always feel like he'd be like a blue raspberry.
Yeah. American Blue.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's like blue raspberry, and then Iron Man would be cherry, obviously.
Spidey's sweet Spidey. I can't think of my fruits.
I don't know what, because I'm just imagining like Otter Pops like by color.
Oh.
So that's why Captain America would be like a blue raspberry. Iron Man would be a cherry. The Thing would be orange, obviously.
Hulk would be green.
Hulk would be lime. Yeah, so he'd be green.
Hulk love lime.
Yeah. Trying to think of what other flavor, like.
Well, who's grape?
Who would be purple?
I mean, Hawkeye, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it would be Hawkeye.
Hawkeye has purple clothes. You're grape.
I mean, that's really how they do that shit for kids. They're just like, oh, here you go. You're grape now.
You're grape now. Marvel Culinary Division.
You are grape now.
So, yeah, we're covering a bunch of books. Whatever. Well, they cover some Doctor Strange in here, some Thor, some Amazing Spider-Man, you know, it's all over the place.
But none of those people are in the book that we were reading.
What are you talking about?
Amazing Spider-Man.
No, because the Darkhold is just
I know.
that
I'm just
exists
saying
in different places.
Those characters are not in the book that we're reading today.
No. I'm just saying, but
yeah.
And Darkhold actually did have its own series, an issue of which we did read on this podcast with my brother.
Oh yeah.
A couple of years ago. But yeah, that was our that was the one and only Darkhold we did, and it was like a Midnight Suns book, and you know, kind of just went away. But what are you laughing at?
Oh God! So we're watching this pay-per-view. This Rey Mysterio. This is Payback. And I love that, like, we're supposed to believe that Seth actually took out Rey's eye, so he's got, like, the lens over one eye of his mask.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Yeah.
Why is this still happening? I thought this was done. Anyway.
I don't know.
Sorry, continue.
I don't know. Maybe we'll probably get one more big payoff between him and Seth, or Rey and Seth, and maybe that'll be it, but we'll see. So Avengers, the reason we're talking about Avengers is because it features Madrid the Mystic, who
I was calling him Modred.
I think it's Madrid.
Oh, okay.
Or is it Mordred? I don't know.
Modam.
Modam the Mystic. He was just introduced in the Marvel Chillers prior to this, or not prior. He
could probably be Lime based on his clothes.
Well, he could be Lime Raspberry. Because he gets some red in there too.
Lime raspberry. That's not a flavor.
Yeah, you don't think so?
No.
What do you mean? We get lime Rickies. You get a raspberry. We get a cherry limeade.
Then he would have to be called a cherry limeade or a lime Ricky.
Okay.
He could be a cherry limeade, but you can't just call it cherry raspberry. Sounds gross.
Lime raspberry. I don't know, folks. Do the test at home.
No, don't do it.
Yeah, he appeared. Well, not actually. No, this was like because that was like a couple of years before this book. But he just randomly shows up in this book.
He's like, "Hello."
He was a character, and he's got like he basically Modred or whatever. Modam used the Darkhold to like put himself into like some sort of like eternal sleep to basically tell Merlin to fuck off.
Yeah, but now he's awake.
But now he's a heel for some reason.
Sure.
You know, he woke up, he showed up, and now he's a heel. So anyway, so on the cover here, it says, you know, of course, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers. Mm-hmm. At last, the origin of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, the Yesterday Quest.
Sure.
And the cover, it's of a wet, rainy night, and Wanda and Peter are standing in the forefront. Peter's pointing at something, and Wanda's wearing the you know, like a trench coat. Yeah. And they're both in their outfits, but and then there's some lightning behind them, and then there's like some dudes with lanterns, and it's actually a pretty cool cover. Yeah, I actually kind of like it. And then apparently, see on the at least put the cover, the team is Beast, Vision, Iron Man, Wasp, Captain America, Falcon, and Miss Marvel. So we start off.
Hawkeye's also there.
Hawkeye's also there because we're finding out. So there was a fight in I'm assuming this is a prior. Yeah, it's in the last issue. Yeah, where
they were fighting the Absorbing Man.
The Absorbing Man. They were fighting the Absorbing Man, and he. You know,
they basically fuck some shit up.
Yeah, they do a bunch of damage to like a harbor or a wharf or whatever.
Yeah, like a pier. And so they really fuck it up. And
I forgot why they were trying to what the Absorbing Man was there, but the Absorbing Man jumped into the harbor. Yeah,
because the cops show up and they're like, what the hell? And he's like, no, we were fighting the Absorbing Man. And he's like, well, I don't see the Absorbing Man. He's like, yeah, it's because he jumped into the harbor and he became water. And he's like,
which I don't know if that's possible. Does it just become water? Because the thing is, Absorbing Man, so his I don't
know how he works.
Well, no, he touches something. So if he touches this foam mic cover, his skin, his skin can become foam.
Ew.
Which is freaky.
Yeah, it's gross.
And I thought about this. Like, if he touches like cotton, it becomes cotton. Well, then all of his organs are in his body, and they're all cotton. But if he touches what? So, but if he touches,
how long does that last for?
I don't. I mean, as long as he needs to, I guess. I don't know. I should probably find out more about this because I've always wondered that about him. Yeah, I've always wondered like if he touches like a Kleenex. And he becomes the skin of a Kleenex. Like, does that mean like it's just
out in the rain? He's fucked.
Yeah, or like, is it just like, you know, like are his internal organs Kleenex, like his bones Kleenex, or is it just his skin? Like, because your skin also counts for, I guess you would count it as a part of your organs and stuff too, right?
It is. Yeah, I mean, technically, sure.
So I just wonder if like that's what happens, you know, and if you know if somebody like punches him or like throws a bucket on him when he's still in Kleenex mode, you know, does that, you know, and all those parts of his crumble or whatever become destroyed. Like, what happens? Right? Does he die? Can he die that way?
I don't know.
Because usually he's walking around, he's just like, he takes the property of like wood or metal or whatever, you know, stuff that he could actually, you know, do damage with. Right. So, anyways, so, you know, the cops like, hey, you know, who's going to pay for this? Right. And, you know, Iron Man's like, hey, why don't you just send the check to Tony Stark? Yeah. Because at this time we were still putting out there, and I mean, that was my question. Like, do people know that he's Tony Stark, or is he's just like, oh, Tony Stark's my like backer? Yeah. Okay. Tony Stark, Iron Man is Tony Stark's bodyguard. Oh, I see. That is what is known. I believe it's a couple years later where Captain America, where I think that the close Avengers know about this, about Tony Stark and their identities, which actually leads to some of my favorite exchanges in an event in the comic. And I think it's Avengers 221, because it was one of the comics I had when I was younger, and it was an issue where it was just an issue where they were like trying to pick some new members or whatever, which Hawkeye eventually ended up becoming a member there. Captain America calls Tony, and he's like, hey, Captain America, it's Iron Man. Or hey, Iron Man, it's Captain America. And Tony's like, hey, like, we know each other's names. You can call us by our names. Like, it just always amused me. It's like, hey, Captain America, this is Iron Man. Hey, Thor, this is Hawkeye, you know. Well, Thor's real name is Thor. Technically, yeah, Thor. He's not, well, because he's not, in the comics, you would just be like, oh, it's Donald Blake calling me. You know.
Oh, not when he's like Thor.
Not in the MCU. He was never a dude. He was just always Thor man.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, Tony will pay for this. And so then, like, Hawkeye is kind of sulking around.
Yeah.
Because they're doing something. Now, I don't exactly understand what or why, but they're doing something where they're, like, rotating out members.
Uh-huh. Probably, I think, because of the government.
Maybe. So Falcon is going to be the new member of the team, and so Hawkeye's been rotated off. He's like, meh, 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 meh. Yeah. He's all mad. He sounds just like that in the comics. Meh, meh.
Yeah, he's because Falcon ends up getting the gig. Mm-hmm. Falcon talking to his bird.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Red Wing, you know, we didn't have such a good, it was a kind of a shitty outing, huh? You know, Captain America's like, nah, it's cool, man. And Hawkeye's like, what do you mean? You didn't do anything. Did I? Or didn't I? Yeah, and it's actually kind of nice. Falcon apparently has not met the other people, so we get to have Captain America introduce him to
everybody.
You know, there's like the woman in black is Captain Marvel, and you know, and Beast is there, and Beast is like, hey,
it's like in such a great like jovial mood. In
this is actually this is why I love Beast, because there's like this and like the Avengers, where like this period where he's just like the swinging Beast,
right? He's like going on dates.
Oh yeah, the Beast fucks,
right?
Hank McCoy, blue fur motherfucking Hank McCoy.
He fucks
in the early '80s, in early and mid '80s. He fucked.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, or '70s, whatever. Man, he was out there. He was fucking
getting it wet.
Yeah, that I know for sure because I've read enough Defenders comics where he's like, hey, I gotta go bang this chick, you know, or whatever. It's like, I'm the Beast. I'm gonna go bounce around or whatever. And he's out there. He's taping fucking Star Trek and shit. He's awesome. He's just like a big nerd.
Yeah.
But he's also fucking.
Yeah.
He's nerds. He's a blue nerd who fucks.
Yeah.
Guys, you gotta get onto that. And also, he's also hanging out with Wonder Man, like he's doing movies and shit. Yeah. So it's like, you know, you got this swinging hairy man, and then you got this hunky actor, you know, wannabe actor, and they're just fucking figuring it out. Mm-hmm. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. I love it. That's why I love Wonder Man. That's why I love Beast. You know, and it's usually around this period where they're kind of kicking it. So Beast is there. Hawkeye's like, meh, you know, basically making the noises that you said. Meh. He's like, nobody wants me here. I should be here, but nobody wants me here, and he didn't do anything. You know, why don't you tell Tony Stark to go fuck off, you robot man?
And Iron Man's kind of like, hey, man, this is just the thing. He's like, yeah, well, whatever. Fuck it. And so everybody goes back to like this house, whatever, the house where they all live.
The Avengers Mansion.
That's it. Thank you. I was like,
the house where they live.
The house where they all live.
That's actually the name of the house where the Avengers live.
The house with walls. So they all go back. And who's this guy that they meet there?
Well, it was Jarvis.
Is that Jarvis?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jarvis.
Why does he look somewhat different? I guess maybe he doesn't. I was confused.
Well, you're probably not used to reading books with Jarvis in it.
You're right. Jarvis is usually a voice.
Jarvis is usually a voice, or he's some sort of robot.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, here
he's not like an actual person, like an Alfred.
He's basically, you know, the thing about Jarvis is like he's his backstory is like he's kind of like Alfred, not as much of a dip sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's something about him, like he's not as whatever goes on between him and the heroes is not, at least from what I read, is not nearly as dramatic as what goes on between him and with them and Bruce.
Right.
With Alfred and Bruce.
Yeah.
So, granted, there's less of them to deal with, but like, you know, there's stories with Alfred where like, you know, like the villains will come to the mansion to fuck shit up, and Jarvis is there and he's got to, you know, find a way to defend himself or whatever. So, you know, there's quite a few stories that revolve around that. This is also the first time when I'm reading this, because even though it's in the previous scene, you could tell, but like I didn't realize that Iron Man's like chest laser or whatever.
He has like broken.
He has broken off. I was like, oh, what the fuck happened to Iron Man?
Yeah, so he shows up and Beast like bounds up the stairs. He's like, oh, I'm going to be late, but so-and-so would be okay with it, but the other two won't be. So he like bounds off and Jarvis is like, oh, I'm so glad the Beast is like happy and whatever.
He says, I must say Master Beast seems to have overcome his former melancholia quite thoroughly.
Yeah.
We cut to the Avengers in the kitchen, or at least Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel and Jocasta, who she's
an android.
She's an android. She it was originally created to be Ultron's wife.
But doesn't she have like what's her name's like brain
She has wasp. Yeah, she has wasp brain patterns in it, which is not surprising considering that Hank Pym created Ultron and everything. So
yeah, so Jocasta is there, and like Tony Stark and Miss Marvel are like flirting, and Jocasta's like, oh, I can't really connect with these people, so I'm gonna go see if there's somebody I can talk to, and that's Vision.
Tony goes to get some coffee, and he kind of, I feel like he does it on purpose. He kind of is like, oops, like kind of gets in Carol's way.
Doing or trying to like touch when he shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's like that guy who tried to like put a plate down in front of me and also touch my boobs at the same time.
Oh, yeah. He's doing that. That's that number.
But I know that number well, so I was just like, what? And then there was no...
Was that at that restaurant that I wasn't at with you?
Yeah, I went with
and I
coworkers.
I still want to fight that
like
guy.
A holiday lunch or something, and he like came to put down my plate, and it was like ridiculous. His arm was so close to my boobs that I just kept trying to move it, and it kept coming closer. But eventually, he had to give up the ghost, and he did not brush my boobs.
Okay, yeah. Well.
I know I've got big ones, but I'm so, I've played this game a little in the past, so I was able to hunch my back and pretty much dissolve my bosoms into my body. They took up my lung space.
Right.
And then they popped back out like a popple.
That's right. So Tony's kind of trying to play in that game, and then she's like, oh, that's okay, Tony, you can bump into me anytime. And Tony says, if you like my bumps, Miss M, you should try my dips. Do you dance? And
I don't understand what they're talking about. It's upsetting. I don't like it. I don't want to try anybody's dips. I don't want to try dancing dips. I don't want to try the dip you made.
What does it say? What was the dip you made? What if he's like, you try my dip? She's like, oh, you mean dancing? He's like, no, try my horseradish dip. It's delicious.
What if Tony Stark, remember when we went to the farmer's market, like in the before times, when that lady had like all those dips?
Yeah.
And you could like sample them. What if Tony Stark was just like really into those dips and he just made them all the time?
That's what he keeps in his helmet.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Just dips.
Yeah, that's how he got over alcohol. He turned to dips. He turned to very dips.
He also got really fat.
He also became 500 pounds because he's just been eating mayonnaise, based dips and sour cream.
He's like, I could use Greek yogurt. It's just not the same.
Yeah. You know what? I got to keep this real. I got to keep it American.
Yeah.
Tony Stark wouldn't do anything less than that. So anyway, Jocasta's like, all right, I'm going to go and like be an android somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
so she like goes to the library where Vision is hanging out. This is my favorite line of this whole book. She's like, hi, Vision, am I bothering you? And he goes, nah, not really. Come on in. You're not really bothering me. You're kind of bothering me.
Not really. You were kind of bothering me.
Sort of bothering me, but you know what? Come on in.
I was pissed because I was reading How to Make Dips.
I was reading How to Make Dips by Tony Stark.
Did you know he has like 5 books on this?
You know what? He stopped making weapons, and now all he makes is dips.
Stark International is just known for its sweet sriracha dips.
He's taken over Hidden Valley. And now he just makes dips.
Those missiles are filled with ranch. He's just shooting. Those missiles just filled with what?
That would be amazing. It just like hit some terrorist. He's just covered in ranch.
I'm covered in horseradish. Somebody give me some Frito chips to scoop this up. Or whatever.
Tony's making dip puns.
That's right. I like this new dip-based Tony Stark. I'm a big fan of that. Anyways, so she comes to talk to him. He's just being mopey because Wanda is not around. Yeah,
Wanda and Quicksilver have gone off to discover the truth of their birth. And so he's mopey because she's not there. And like, what's her name says, Jocasta's like, oh, don't you miss her? And he's like, oh, can an android have feelings enough to miss someone? And she's like, okay.
He's like, all right, I guess.
And so that's when I
guess we'll go back downstairs and see if Tony's got more dip.
Yeah, she's like, I guess I'm going to get into dip now. And so like, then we cut.
I brought that book.
So then he like cuts to whatever country.
So we're in Transylvania.
Sure.
Because we're just making up, we for some reason we don't.
It's an Eastern European country.
We're using
but also German.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that all about?
It's kind of like Switzerland. It's like right on the border. It's like kind of like Luxembourg. Actually, maybe it's like Luxembourg because Luxembourg
is it really an Eastern European country then, or has that changed over time?
I feel like just like the more of like how they talk and how they, you know, at least how they feel like they're represented in like the movies.
They were always like former Soviet bloc.
It's like
Russians.
Soviet bloc, but also like, so it's more Eastern European.
Yeah, but this is not.
But I feel like this also could be, as you mentioned, because there's like some German flavor in here.
Yeah.
You know, so it could be like Luxembourgish.
Sure.
So if we're talking like we're kind of headed into the eastern part, but we're not quite there.
We're not quite there yet. Yeah. Maybe. So they show up with this Maximov guy, old man.
Yeah, who is this guy?
I don't know who this guy is, and it's kind of doesn't really explain it. So,
because obviously he's related to them, but like,
right, but how?
I don't quite understand how.
I don't know. So they get to this little town, and they're like, "Well, apparently this is the town we were born in.
Yep.
So we're gonna stay in this hotel." Quicksilver, whose hair is horrific.
Yeah,
and
he just has a little like I can use the hairspray or whatever it is they used in the 70s to get that little points.
Those little two fucking horn points.
I have eternal cowlicks.
It's awful. And so him and Maximov are going to share a room, and Wanda's going to have another room. Mm-hmm. So everybody turns into the night because I guess they got there late. And so then we start with like Quicksilver's like having a think, where he goes into this whole story about how like, well, they thought one thing, but also this kind of makes sense. And like,
yeah, we came here to seek some answers, but it doesn't feel like we're getting any answers because I thought our parents were the Wizard and Miss America.
Right.
Because, you know, they're who were like heroes in like, they're like in the Invaders, like 70, like the early 40s or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't exactly know how, because for what it's worth, Wanda and Pietro or whatever are Magneto's kids.
Yeah.
That's the fact. I didn't I didn't realize that this was as disputed as it was.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So he's thinking about that, and he's like, oh, and then like I don't know, this whole thing. And so then he talks about like, you know, we were like basically, you know, Romani, we were travelers, and I remember talking to these people around a fire, but then I remember somebody coming and burning all of our caravans down.
I do enjoy that the drawings of these young Wanda and Peter
look exactly the same.
Look exactly like, they just look like
little them.
It kind of looks like in The Love Guru when they just put
oh, yeah, it's fucking terrifying.
Adult Michael Myers face.
Yeah, on like a kid body.
On a kid body.
Yeah, it's really upsetting.
And it kind of just reminds me of that, where it's just like, yeah, we're kids, you know? It's like,
yeah, no, they're not.
It's like, dude, you have the exact same face as you do in this picture here.
Yeah. I remember somebody coming to like burn our caravan down.
Right. And then I also remember Wanda insists that their birthplace was this place called Wundagore, which is where
like a big mountain.
It was like it's not in somewhere. It's like a science citadel and like a mountain.
But it's like on top of a mountain because they're like, oh, you know, when we were born, there was all this lightning on top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Also, here's a cow woman who took care of us.
Right. There was a midwife.
Yeah.
That named Bova.
Yeah.
Who was a cow because a cow woman because she was hanging out with the High Evolutionary.
Yeah.
Who High Evolutionary is just like, all right, I'm making cow women. I'm keeping kids in my Swiss Alps.
Sure.
Citadel. So.
Yeah. And then then Wanda's sleeping in the nude. In the nude for some fucking reason. I don't know. Nobody in these comic books ever has pajamas.
She's having a nice nude sleep.
They're in a mountainous region. It could be very cold where they are.
Oh.
You need to put on clothes. I mean, it's fine if you want to sleep in the nude, but it's kind of weird in a hotel because what happens if the fire alarm goes off?
That's true.
But that's when this guy just like shows up and he's like, hey, it's me.
I'm Madra the Mystic.
Come with me, Scarlet Witch, and I'm going to take you up to the top of the mountain.
I have my own Marvel chillers up there.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to hang out. We're going to get some of Tony Stark's dips and we're going to have a Marvel chiller. It's going to be a good time. And she's like, well, let me get my brother. He's like, nah.
That guy sucks.
You don't want your brother. We'll get him later. Come with me. So she's like, oh, and then he's like, by the way, now you're wearing a costume. You're no longer naked. And she's like, I don't even have that ability. I'm like, you kind of do if you just put your clothes on, but whatever.
Yeah, that's right. I don't have the ability to put my clothes on.
Oh my God. This is impossible.
Man, does it mean that we and I have mutant abilities to put our clothes on?
Apparently everyone has this mutant ability except for Wanda.
No, she just waits. She just waits for magic to do it, or Vision has to Vision helps her put them on.
Yeah, he just magics them on.
He just androids them on.
So she like flies out the window with this guy, and they fly up to the top of this mountain.
And some girl watches them, so we'll keep that in mind.
Some little girl sees them go, and they get up to the top of the mountain, and then there's like a force field that like zaps what's his face.
Well, there's like a cannon.
Yeah,
a cannon because the High Evolutionary's got like weapons.
So Wanda.
Well, also too, I just want to point out call him Milady.
Call
her Milady.
Yes.
So he's just doffing his hat.
He's wearing a fedora under that fucking hood. he's
nagging her. He's doing
absolutely.
He's doing magic tricks.
He's mystery.
He's mystery. He's coming in the middle. He's coming in the middle of the night, just talking about a conversation. Like, oh my God, did you see that fight out there? Oh my God, that was crazy. Because that's a bit.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit where a good way to pick up women is to go up to like a group, maybe a bunch of women or maybe some guys and girls, and say if you had your eye on a girl and just walk up and be like, oh my God, did you see that fight outside? And then the whole point is it's an in to get them to be like, oh really? But there was a fight? And you'd be like, yeah, oh my God, this guy, you got his fucking head smashed to the, whatever.
Or you could just say hello.
No, you can't. If you have a fedora, you have to start a conversation about a fight.
Now to Reddit to complain about women.
To Reddit.
So she like gets the force field to go away, and that's where they find this like old science center. And she's like, oh, wow, it's kind of dilapidated because like nobody's been here in a while.
Yeah, it was like shit.
Yeah. And so they go in and there's the floating book.
Don't they get to like to the...
I don't know if they go in.
They go around a corner.
Oh, they go around the corner and the book is just floating there. And she's like, wow, is this for me? And that's when he like zaps her.
Yeah, he turns heel on her.
And so she like is passed out in the snow. He negs her. And then this is where Quicksilver wakes up and he's like, oh, I don't know where Wanda is. And so he like runs around and he can't find her. And he like asks the guy at the desk and the guy's like, I don't know, I didn't see her.
Well, the old guy's like, come on, let's cook some fucking breakfast.
And Quicksilver's having a fit.
Quicksilver's like, fuck that shit. I don't want no continental breakfast. I saw it. I don't like it.
Nope.
There's only one kind of bagel there. Ugh, I'm not into it.
The worst.
You.
Some kid talking constantly. Nobody wants to listen to that.
Just ham cubes.
Ham cubes. So he like runs around the village. He can't find her, and he like sits down on a stoop, and he's all sad.
Well, first of all, he runs away from this old guy, and this old guy is like,
"Oh, I don't want to be alone anymore."
Yeah, he's like,
that guy just wants to hang out and be friends.
He just wants to hang out because he's like, we're relatives. I haven't like had a relative here in like years.
That guy just wants a friend.
He just wants a friend, and Quicksilver's like, fuck your breakfast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why don't you go eat some oatmeal yourself?
Right,
you old fuck.
Yeah, be alone and sad. And so then he like sits down on the stoop, and he's like, I don't know where my sister is. And the girl's like, oh, hey.
Well, but before that, he sits down on a stoop. He runs around the entire village, just like, and I'm trying to figure out, like, is he just running into houses and just being like, nope. Hey, where is she? Is she here?
I'm assuming. And so then he like sits down, he's sad. And this little girl's like, hey, I saw her and the dude like fly up that way. And he's like, thank you, child. He calls her a child.
Yeah.
And he like bodies up this fucking mountain, or he tries to, but then he like
hits the force field.
I didn't know if it was a force field because it's like a red thing. It almost looks like a boxing glove. He just like bounces off.
Well, I kind of wish it was a boxing glove.
Giant.
Kind of wish it was Green Arrow shooting a boxing glove at him.
Yeah. And he just falls backwards and passes out. Basically,
he does the Homer Simpson fall down the mountain.
Pretty much. And like when he comes to, he is in this room with this woman who's taken him. She's like, oh, I saved you, by the way, but don't you know me? And it's Bova. And he's like, oh my God, cow woman. And that's the end of that.
She's about to give him some, what appears to be.
It's not dip.
No, it's not dip. It looks like some sort of soup. Well, I'm looking at the soup and there's like carrots in it. Is that carrots?
That orange thing, yeah.
But there's also like, maybe it's beets.
Sure.
But yeah, they look like little like wafers. Maybe it's like animal crackers or something.
Animal cracker soup?
Yeah. She's an animal. She's like, hey, I made a bunch of crackers look like me. But yeah, and that's how that ends.
Uh-huh.
Next issue, Knights of Wundagore. And so we can actually see the next issue, and the cover says the most bizarre Avengers epic ever told. Enter Madrid the Mystic. And looks like Wanda is being bound by magic.
Sure.
Above that book. So that's it for Avengers number 185 from July 1979. Do you want to read the next issue?
Maybe.
I'm going to read it because I have the rest of this book to read. So
sure.
I have to get through it.
Yeah.
Ooh, it even has this one here that...
Thor?
Yeah, but it's a Thor like, you bought this
Oh yeah, because it's got like a Dracula and shit.
Yeah, it's like Sif is like got Dracula. It's like a Dracula. I didn't realize this was Darkhold adjacent. So
neat.
Because I've been wanting to read this one for a while. Because I kept on seeing it and never got around to it, but I look forward to that.
Yeah,
that's terrific. Anyways, I guess that's it for this week's show. If you want to find us on Twitter and Instagram, I'm at Angry Hero Sean.
And I'm at Jen Stansfield on Twitter and Instagram. You can email or find the show on Facebook, Worst Collection Ever, and email the show, worstcollectionever@gmail.com.
And please rate, review, subscribe the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you get the podcast. As an update, I found a new place to put the podcast. It's known as Podhound.
Okay.
You can find us on Podhound.
Podhound.
If you wanna fuck with Podhound.
Sure.
I don't know what else Podhound offers, but somebody was like, "Hey, you should put it up there." And like, so I'm always up about that. Except for Amazon, we're not putting it on Amazon.
No.
You can fuck off.
Yeah, I want to say fuck Bezos.
Fuck Bezos. Find us on Stitcher. Find us on Apple. Find us on Spotify.
Yeah.
And tell your friends. Most importantly, tell your friends. We would really, really appreciate that. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Be safe out there. Wear a goddamn mask. And we'll talk to you again next week.
Bye.